Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about my Survivor 48 preseason cast assessment. I'm here to give you the lowdown on all 18 brand new players on Survivor 48. We'll be going in depth on every single one of them, pouring over every detail of their biographies and pre-game interviews to bring you winner picks, first boot picks, and everything in between picks for this new cast. Best part is, this cast assessment is 100% guaranteed accurate. As fans of this channel know, I am never wrong on these. If you haven't seen my cast assessments before, I do things a little differently. I'll look individually at each member of the cast, give you an overview of their background and bio, then carefully analyze everything they say to tell you how I think they'll do on Survivor 48. As we go through the cast, I'll also hand out an award to each player. Think of it as high school superlatives, Survivor style. Most likely to win, most likely to be the challenge beast, most likely to be the mastermind, etc., etc. Then at the end of the season, we will come back to this very analysis to see how right or wrong, often wrong, I was. As always, we're using the CBS cast bios and Mike Bloom's pregame interviews for Parade.com as the basis of my judgment. So please, go give him some clicks. The link is in the description. We've got a lot of new survivors to get through, so let's get going. All that said, let's dig into my Survivor 48 preseason cast analysis. Let's begin with the Orange Siva tribe, but not my pick for first boot. Let's kick things off with 38-year-old stunt performer David Kinne, who I'm awarding most likely to be the merge boot. This is the guy I am most excited to watch play. And whether he lasts 3 episodes or 13, he is going to be a blast. David is a stunt performer, lifetime athlete, has his commercial pilot's license. Would you believe he describes himself as an adrenaline junkie? David has some of that good old-fashioned One World era recruit energy, which is oddly refreshing in the new era. He's not super familiar with the show and didn't even know Jeff's last name when he was in the casting process. I'm genuinely unsure how or why he came to Survivor. My dude probably watched Survivor 45 at 2x speed on his phone at the gym and called it a day. I cannot wait to see him play. David's plan coming into the game is to just lean into the challenged beast side of things and count on his charm to bail him out when he's in trouble. He seems very confident in his social game. And it'll work? The bravado is more on the endearing side than the obnoxious side, more Nick Majorano than Drew Christie. So I think David will have a lot of success early on. Players like Mitch and Kamilla will be really wanting to use him as a shield, and he's gonna hard carry in the challenges. I'd be shocked if David doesn't make the merge, but he's really going to need strong allies there if he wants to go further. David will probably be the biggest target when the tribes come together, especially if his tribe is successful, and you simply cannot comp out to the end in Survivor, at least from this point. David's journey probably ends as soon as he's vulnerable after the merge, where he'll be able to enjoy as much chocolate milk as he wants at Ponderosa. Let's move on to another player I'm very excited for, 54-year-old Fire Lieutenant Chrissy Sarnowsky, winner of the award for most likely to be the fan favorite. Start the prayer circle now. Chrissy must be protected. She's strong, she's fun, and she wants to shove all those puzzle practicing Survivor nerds into a locker. We need Chrissy in the final 5. This is a woman who specifically put south side of Chicago as her hometown. What's not to love? Chrissy is a firefighter and paramedic who got into that career shortly after high school, and her decision to have a career focused on helping people was reinforced when she responded to a motorcycle wreck early in her career. This has to be the first time degloved has ever been said in a Survivor interview. Chrissy is obviously coming into the game as the quote-unquote older woman, and she knows the sort of baggage that carries, so she wants to immediately pivot out of tribe mom mode and into tribe cool aunt, which I think is perfect. Chrissy's strategy is to take the game day by day and tribal by tribal, and if an advantage falls into her lap, so be it. I think with Chrissy, what you see is what you get, which is going to be a boon to her game. She's blunt, she's no nonsense, and you'll always know where you stand with her. And smart players will realize that even if she's not on your side, having an enemy where you know where you stand with them is better than having an ally with questionable loyalties. There's unfortunately always a risk the oldest woman goes first, but there are a lot of gamers on this tribe who would be very wise to scoop Chrissy up. Next, let's look at 34-year-old PE coach Mitch Guerra, who I'm awarding most likely superfan to succeed. Mitch is perhaps the biggest superfan of the season, guy who applied for 10 years before getting on the show. And I really like that he has a foundational understanding of the game and the life experience necessary for a Survivor diehard to succeed. One of the first things you'll notice about Mitch is that he has a stutter, which has obviously impacted his life, especially as a child, but it also helped him develop a lot of resilience, and he says it gave him a big sense of empathy as well. And watching Christy in Survivor Amazon inspired him to seek his Survivor dream. Coming into the game, I think Mitch is better equipped than your average superfan. No shade to new era superfans of years past, but Mitch is coming in very fit as a marathon runner. But above all else, what makes me so high on Mitch is that he understands that Survivor is a game of relationships. It sounds to me like Mitch wants to play a bit of the Omer, man behind the curtain style game. He wants to be very open about his personal struggles as a way to build trust. He wants to find a tight alliance of big personalities to hide behind, and he wants allies with advantages that he can control. I would not be surprised if he and David have an Omer and Jonathan style relationship. Overall, this is not a tribe I'm expecting to see tribal that often, and I don't think Mitch is going to be one of the players on the chopping block at the beginning. Expect Mitch to puppet master his way deep into the merge. Let's move on to 33-year-old fitness coach and flight attendant Charity Nelms, winner of the award for most likely to blindside their ally. I'm going all in on Charity. She's strong, she's charming. This is the player everyone should fear. 10 years ago, Charity was 100 pounds overweight and working at a megachurch, two things which she didn't want to be, so she changed her life, lost 100 pounds, and got a job as a flight attendant instead. She started skipping her morning prayers to watch Survivor online, and here we are. Charity wants to take that risk-taking attitude and apply it to her Survivor game. She does not want to play it safe on Survivor. She wants every advantage, and she wants everyone in her pocket. And normally, this would just be red flag after red flag for her game, but I really feel like Charity could actually pull off this sort of scheming gameplay. She's physically strong and seems very relatable and easy to talk to, which will really help hide the devious side of her game. I do think Charity will lean more towards aligning with the women on her tribe. I could see her and Chrissy linking up, even though it doesn't sound like Chrissy likes her preseason. And who knows, we may see a Charity versus David showdown early in the season. I don't really sense that their personalities will gel too much. I think Charity will naturally draw a lot of people towards her, but she will also have no qualms stabbing them in the back if it advances her game. And I could see her playing a sort of mercenary, cold-blooded Genevieve-style game. Charity will make the jury and a few enemies along the way, but will stop short of having her collection plate filled at Final Tribal Council. Next, let's look at 30-year-old lawyer Kyle Fraser, winner of the award for Too Nice for Survivor. Kyle is a really sweet and sincere guy who I think has a good head for the game, swords to the merge 9 times out of 10, but whose heart is just gonna get in the way. Kyle calls himself the best average guy you'll ever meet. He's strong, he's charming, he's a leader, but he's not the biggest and most threatening versions of any of those skills in the game, or even on his tribe. Kyle's a lawyer, but he says he's going to tell everyone he's a teacher, which is a job he had before law school. He's a newer Survivor watcher, but he's not so new to the game it's going to be a disadvantage. I'd kind of put him in the sweet spot of casual-ish fan, but with a good sense of both the social and strategic side of the game. But not so casual he doesn't know the host's name. Kyle's coming into Survivor with the idea of playing people first. That is, build a foundational, authentic relationship with someone before working the strategic side. Tribe BFF is a good angle to work, and on paper, Kyle is a perfect choice to win. He looks like if you asked AI to generate a person who would win Survivor. He's a perfect all-arounder, but I kind of view him as an Austin-style player. Not on the showman side of things, obviously, but as someone who wants to play a logical game, but who will just struggle to pull the trigger on those tough blind sides. On day 24, will Kyle be able to end his closest ally's Survivor dream? I guess we'll see. In general, I would be surprised if Kyle's an early boot, although I do think there's a possibility he ends up in the crossfire on this tribe early on. But I think he tops out at a mid-jury placement a la, well, actually, Kyle last season. Let's close out our first tribe with 30-year-old software engineer Kamilla Karthigesu, winner of the award for most likely be someone's sidekick. I'll be honest with you, I think Kamilla has pretty strong first boot energy, but if she can overcome the obvious early hurdles to her game, I think she has the potential to go far as someone's +1. Geeky gamer, Survivor superfan, talks a mile a minute. On the surface, Kamilla is a very non-threatening player, a vibe she will hopefully harness in the game. Tribe oddballs have a lot of success in recent seasons because they're written off by others. And I think it would really behoove Kamilla to align with a more out-front player as their sidekick. She keeps talking about Giga Chad in the preseason interviews, so maybe David would be good for her. Kamilla's strategy is to play conservatively and in the background if she's on a losing tribe, but play bolder if her tribe is strong. But she's also very aware of the TV product side of things, and she wants to be on a good season. Kamilla will not be content to just sit in a big alliance and pagong everyone else. There are obvious red flags with Kamilla in her size and strong personality that could portend an early exit for her in the game. She does kind of give geekier Big Wendy to me, but I don't think this tribe will see tribal very often, and given time, I think Kamilla could little sister her way into a tight duo or trio with some of the power players here. If this tribe's going to tribal early and often, I don't think Kamilla's long for the game, but if they're only hitting pre-merge tribal once later on, I think she'll find her place. Give Kamilla a bit of time and the right allies, and this Discord engineer could engineer some discord in the game. Let's move on to the autocorrect nightmare Vula tribe and 34-year-old finance manager Kevin Leung, who is most likely to play themselves out of the game early. There's no reason a well-rounded player like Kevin should leave pre-merge, unless he gives them a reason. An engineer turned Abercrombie store model turned MBA at a tech company, Kevin has a lot of experience in some of the world's most beloved professions. Now we can add reality star to that as well. A few years ago, when he was on a Bear Grylls reality show. Maybe I'm being too hard on Kevin. He's a longtime Survivor fan going back to season 2, and he does seem extremely smart and charming. His friends describe him as chaotic friendly, and he wants to have this family tree alliance where he's at the center and he's got all these branches leading to his other family members. He also wants to play up this sort of ditzy, airheaded character while secretly being a conniving strategist who's up all night hunting for idols. I'm just not sure he has the finesse to pull this sort of game off. I really feel like he'll be very transparent in his scheming, and his tribe mates will see right through it once they compare notes. Kevin's best trajectory is probably as a Caleb-style underdog who is just too likable for his own good and who eventually gets got early merge, but I think he'll probably be one of the first few out from this tribe. Pre-merger who thinks he's running the show right up until that last Kevin vote is read. Let's move on to 30-year-old social worker Mary Zheng, winner of the award for most likely to be underestimated. I think Mary is going to be a low-key social threat in this game who could fly under the radar a really long way. Mary's lived an exciting life with lots of travel, and she's had these really high-stakes jobs like substance abuse counselor and working at a crisis hotline. And yet she's got this very casual and relatable energy. The way she speaks at times is quite captivating. She drops these strange curveballs of expressions, like saying things like, "We all have rich inner landscapes," when describing who she wants to work with. That's one thing that I think will help Mary in the game. The vibes are good. She's able to be calm under pressure, and she has this very cavalier attitude that I think will draw people to her personally, but not draw negative attention. Mary's strategy is to play the middle with a shield in front of her and a weaker player behind her, and she's willing to go big and go for the advantages, but only if it feels right. Overall, I'm fairly high on Mary. I think she's got a really fun yet non-threatening energy that will help her blend into the background on her tribe early on, and she will probably be in proximity to the power players. Potential deep run. Next, let's look at 46-year-old colorectal surgeon Cedrek McFadden, who I am awarding most likely to be way too loyal. Last season, I gave this award a break, and I didn't give it to Sue despite my instincts. No longer. This is an award for players over 40 who have an inclination to play an extremely straightforward, loyalty-based game that results in them being one of the first 5 people out, or in the final 5, no exceptions. Cedrek fits that mold. No doubt that Cedrek is one of the most accomplished people on this cast. Board-certified surgeon, lots of media appearances, family man. Cedrek has a lot going on. Does he need Survivor? Does he have the fire in his belly to win? I don't know. I think Cedrek is going to have a great social game by just being himself. In his line of work, he's got to make very uncomfortable people very comfortable with him quickly. He kind of reminds me of a younger Joe Del Campo in that way. He just exudes a warmth and kindness that I think is going to make him a popular player on his tribe. Cedrek is going to be a prime alliance mate for savvier strategic players. He really feels like the perfect mix of sincerity and loyalty that you want in a partner. But if he chooses his allies wrong, he could be caught in that pre-merge crossfire. I don't want to poo-poo his game too much, but overall I am kind of feeling an earlier boot for Cedrek. But if he makes it out of this tribe, he's probably in it for the long haul. Let's move on to 29-year-old marketing professional Sai Hughley, winner of the award for most likely to cause chaos. This is probably going to be the sleepy, boring vibes tribe, and Sai has more energy than everyone else here put together. That's not good for her. Sai is a former reporter who pivoted to marketing at NBC, where she bought ads for NBC and Bravo shows. Sai has this big, bubbly energy, but also this impulsive and vengeance-seeking side of her as a player that I think, well, it'll take her very far as the head of this tribe or send her out the door very early. I'm kind of feeling like Abby Maria vibes, maybe Sugar. She's got this big smile, great laugh, and then she's recounting a grudge she had with a teacher from 10 years ago. I'd hate to be her RC. Sai is definitely a more casual fan of Survivor, which is fine, but I do wonder if her relationship with the game is too casual. Every question she's asked about the game, she brings up Drea and Marianne, which just sort of makes me think she watched Survivor 42 in the hotel room before the game. Like Drea, she wants every idol, every advantage, everyone in her back pocket. And I don't know, maybe her Paramount Plus subscription ran out before she could get to episode 11. I could see things going either way for Sai. Some will find her big personality charming, but her impulsivity and quest for control could get her in trouble. On the other hand, if she gets any sort of power, I could definitely see her sort of taking this tribe by the horns and running it. I certainly wouldn't count Sai out, and she'll be one of the bigger characters of the season, no matter when we say sayonara to her. Let's talk about 29-year-old pizzeria manager Justin Pioppi, who I am awarding most likely to speak in puns. Someone told this man to bring up pizza every chance he possibly could, and by God, he listened. All roads lead back to pizza with Justin. We're going to get at least 3 separate tribal council pizza-related analogies. Bank on it. However, Justin wasn't always just about pizza. Originally, he went to Yale and was hoping to get into the world of politics before his mother got sick, and he stepped in to help her with the family restaurant. And if he wins, he wants to help his mother retire. Justin's clearly a sweet guy, but will his game be an artisanal wood-fired pizza or a store-brand pie straight out of the frozen aisle at Safeway? I'm actually a lot higher on Justin's chances than I thought I would be at first glance. Justin lives his life with loyalty, he left school to help his family business, and he talks about how he has never even cheated on his barber. I think the hair and the Boston accent and the pizza t-shirt will really help to lower his threat level, and I could see him in like a really low-key but steady alliance with another laid-back player like Cedrek. I think Justin is going to be a very unassuming player, sort of like a New England Fabio, and life in the restaurant biz has given him a lot of customer service skills and a surprising amount of physicality. He will last long enough to roast that post-merge pizza reward. Let's close out this tribe with 37-year-old tech product lead Stephanie Berger, who I am awarding most likely to be the main character. You know how everyone clocked Kim Spradlin as the winner just by her cast photo back in the day? I look at Stephanie's cast photo and I see 8 confessionals an episode. Stephanie is a former teacher turned tech worker, an original Survivor watcher who came back to the show during COVID, and who is now an avid reality fan in general. Big hair, big energy, big confidence. Stephanie is going to be one of the stars of the show as long as she's around. She's like the final Pokemon evolution of Cassidy and Kendra. I feel like Stephanie is going to be at the center of this tribe. I can really see her getting along with everyone here, and she's going to be a huge social threat. And I think the woo-woo vibes are going to obscure a pretty savvy, social, and strategic player. Stephanie wants to take a more passive role early in the game and sit back and let other players lead the tribe, while also avoiding advantages entirely. Personally, anytime someone says that, I expect that to get thrown out the window 5 seconds into the game. And I think Stephanie will probably be one of the more active players in her tribe early on, both socially and strategically. There's definitely a universe where Stephanie comes off too strong and gets the boot early, but I do think the stars will align for her here. I'm feeling like a Kelly in Survivor 45 trajectory, where she's the head of her tribe, but sniped around Final 7 or Final 8. Which is also the amount of confessionals she will have every episode. Finally, let's close things out with the purple Loggy tribe and 34-year-old music executive Thomas Krottinger. Regretfully, my choice for first boot. I really want to be wrong. Thomas is a huge Survivor fan and is insanely likable, but I just think he's really gotten a raw deal on the tribe he is on. Thomas works in the music industry as the guy who helps musicians find compositions and develop their careers. He's another COVID-era Survivor convert, but he really just gives off 25-year superfan energy, and that's not good. No matter how he plays, he just looks like he'll be a Survivor snake, which is how he wants to play. Thomas is in one of the most competitive industries in the world, and he wants to bring that cutthroat energy to his Survivor game. Thomas says he's going to have trouble with the jury precisely because he's able to connect with people so well, but he will also have no trouble stabbing them in the back to get further in the game. He wants to find advantages and lead people to them to later use that to put a target on their back. He wants to intentionally create conflict with another person to obscure how lovable he is. All that, and he's got a mustache, the most sinister form of facial hair. I really hope I'm wrong, but I really just cannot see Thomas beating the sneaky superfan allegations. He's hysterical and charming, and I think he has great villain potential. I love how he speaks with a very thoughtful, measured cadence. I just unfortunately feel like he'll be a little bit too slow to warm up to this tribe, and I don't think he has a lot of alliance options on a tribe I'm expecting to be more physically oriented than the other two. I hope in 3 months I'm laughing at how wrong I was on this, but I'm not feeling a long stay on Survivor 48 for Thomas. Let's move on to 28-year-old sales expert Star Toomey, who I am awarding most likely to win or be the first boot. I give this award to high-variance players who are very at risk of going home early on, but who have what it takes to win the game if they survive those dangerous early tribal councils. That is Star to a T. Star's a star. Infectious energy, extremely animated, great vibes, but I can also see her tribe wondering if she has an off switch. She was a semi-pro basketball player who now works in sales, and she's coming into the game with a lot of physicality and persuasive powers, which will hopefully help her game. She's a new mother and is playing for her son and wife back home, and it sounds to me like she's another newer fan who came to Survivor during late nights up with her newborn son. She's also obsessed with vampires, not related to Survivor at all, but a very strange anecdote. Star's strategy comes via her Survivor-obsessed sister and brother-in-law, who gave her a bunch of rules for how to play the game. Don't talk too much, don't give away secrets, don't be obvious when advantage hunting, all things which Star seemingly plans to ignore. Star will definitely be a social player, but where I'm worried is that I think she could be too social. She's loud, she talks a lot, and for better or worse, she is not just going to blend into the background in any way, shape, or form. And this type of personality is always at risk of going home first on their tribe. On the other hand, Star is really likable. If her tribe gets momentum, if they avoid early tribal councils where players like Star are most at risk, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility she'll be able to pitch her case at Final Tribal Council. If this tribe avoids tribal council for the first 2 or 3 episodes, Star will go far. Next, let's look at 45-year-old Fire Captain Joe Hunter, who I am awarding most likely to be the tribe leader. Impossible not to like this guy. Super authentic, kinda sounds like Jeremy if you close your eyes while he's talking. And he thought Gabler is named Diggler. I'm already ready to see this guy on Survivor 50. Joe's obviously not the most hardcore fan. He's playing Survivor for his deceased sister who passed away due to domestic violence a few years ago. Before she passed, Joe's sister wanted to try out for Survivor with him, so he's here in her honor. That said, Joe's definitely a newer fan of the show, but he's gone back and watched and rewatched seasons, and he put in the work to understand in an analytical way what works and what doesn't. I guess he just didn't pay attention to the players' names. Even though he's been running the tapes on the new era, Joe kind of feels to me like a bit of a casting throwback. He's huge, he's charming, he's likable, he's a natural leader. And these are all things he cannot turn off. I just don't see the game savvy of a Dom or Jeremy in Second Chances that will get him out of trouble when the numbers inevitably turn against him post-merge. I say post-merge because Joe will probably have no problems in the pre-merge. I definitely see him and Shauhin as a duo, or him and Eva. Joe would go far in this game 9 times out of 10, but this in particular is a tribe tailor-made for a guy like him, unless Shauhin gets some big move-itis. Joe will take his alliance to the merge, he'll be the tribe dad, shrewder players will hide behind him, and he'll be one of the first casualties when the numbers come against his group. Joe will make the merge, where he will watch the rest of his allies like a proud dad from the jury bench. Let's move on to 23-year-old PhD student Eva Erickson, winner of the award for most likely, oh yeah, she's a threat, first boot in the finale. Eva's a physical threat in this game who I think will play a solid, loyalty-based game. This is a new era classic. Your Lindsays, your Laurens, even Noelle. Solid, loyalty-driven players who are clear consensus votes as the game winds down. Eva's a Division I college athlete and a PhD student studying how seal whiskers can be used by the United States Navy. Yeah, that's what it says here. So she's clearly very smart. Eva has one of my favorite Survivor origin stories ever, where her and her college friends played Survivor together and the challenges were classic college drinking games. And at Final 3, everyone took a breathalyzer, and whoever was the most sober was eliminated on the spot? Maybe the kids are going to be alright after all. Eva's remarkable as the first player to openly have autism, and she admits she will struggle with some of the social cues, so she's going to have to really hone in on alliance building and loyalty. Eva's a hockey player and used to being around very athletic men, and I do think those are the types of players she'll gravitate towards in the game. I mean, she's such an athlete, she wants to volunteer for Sweat versus Savvy. I'll admit that Eva's loyalty and physically based game isn't exactly knocking my socks off, but I do think it will carry her a long way on this season. She'll probably align with the other athletes on her tribe, and I wouldn't be shocked to see her in control early on. but I don't think this kind of player has the juice to win in the new era, and Eva tops out to me as a Final 6, Final 5, consensus boot, and she better pray the immunity challenge that round is Survivor Flip Cup. Next, let's look at 37-year-old debate professor Shauhin Davari, winner of the award for Most Likely Him Spradlin. This is an award for players who just have that good at Survivor aura. A dude you can just look at and know he will rule at Survivor. Shauhin was the male alternate for Survivor 46, and if you paid attention in the preseason, the enigmatic bearded man known only as SD was the talk of the town. Then he left town and was not on the cast. This is that guy. Shauhin is a college professor and debate coach, a guy who only came to Survivor in 2020 but went all in and now hosts watch parties at his house. Despite his later interest in the show, I think he's one of the smarter players this season in terms of game knowledge. He wants to play like a new era Penner, which I see. He's got the charisma and the inherent likability of Jonathan Penner, but he wants to turn off Penner's need for control. I really think that could work. Shauhin is astutely aware of how he comes off and what he needs to do, and that he'll need to take his foot off the gas at times to succeed. It's just really hard for me to imagine an early end to Shauhin's game. He's just got such a likable energy, he's a physical beast, and he has a very level head for the game. I think he'll probably be at the center of whatever the power structure is of this tribe. He'll be good for his word if you're on his side, but will very much be in favor of pulling some sneaky stuff against you if you're not with him. I do think he'll be one of the larger targets at the merge, but I just feel like he'll be able to weasel out of trouble time and time again. Plus, alternates are having a good run on Survivor lately. Mid-merger at least, with winner upside. Finally, let's move on to my pick to win Survivor 48, 32-year-old PR consultant Bianca Roses. The last 2 seasons, I made some respectable but safe winner picks in Kyle and Hunter. I'm rolling the dice this time. Bianca's a PR consultant who works events for huge corporate clients, so she's got a lot of experience in sales and persuasion and general schmoozing. What I like about her is that she's really in tune with herself and has a strong aura of positivity. That will be Bianca's strength in Survivor 48, her social game. She says she wants to get idols and advantages, but she wants to use them with a partner, of which there are many on the table here. I could see her and Shauhin as a sneaky little duo, like a non-toxic Shannon Ricard. I also see Thomas as a potential ally for her, which I would love to see. Of anyone on this tribe, Bianca's been a Survivor fan the longest. Her original screen name back in the day was Survivor Freak 815, and Bianca's reached a level of super fandom not even I've achieved, and I can sum it up in 4 words. Boston Rob Sex Dreams. Dreams. Multiple. Look, I know I'm sticking my neck out on this one. I think at first glance, Bianca kind of has some Maddie energy. She's probably the weakest physical player on this tribe, and they even kind of gave her the dodo music in her little intro package. So this could blow up right in my face. But I think even if she is a target early on, which almost seems inevitable, honestly, she will be able to shift that target elsewhere, especially if she chooses her allies well. Bianca will have a solid but under-the-radar social and strategic presence. She just needs that ride or die. You're not dreaming. Bianca is my pick to win Survivor 48. There we have it, my preseason cast analysis for Survivor 48. Now I want to know what you think of this cast and my analysis. Let me know in the comments. Until next time, don't get idled out.